Signal filtration principles. Why filters matter. Today we're talking about filters as a practical troubleshooting tool, not just a math topic. A filter is simply a circuit or algorithm that removes the parts of a signal you do not want and preserves the parts you do want. In industrial instrumentation, that usually means removing noise, removing ripple, smoothing readings, or isolating a specific frequency band. The goal for this video is to build an intuitive understanding of what filters do, how to talk about them using frequency, and how to choose the right type of filter for the job. The core problem: real signals are messy. In textbooks, signals are clean. In the real world, signals ride on top of electrical noise, interference, ripple, vibration, and switching transients. A flow transmitter might be stable, but the wiring may pick up noise. A pressure signal might be real, but the process may be chattering. A power supply may be mostly steady, but it has ripple. Filters are how we keep the measurement useful by suppressing what does not represent the process. 2. Views of a signal: time domain and frequency domain. Most people think in the time domain, voltage versus time, or current versus time. Filters make more sense in the frequency domain, which describes a signal as a mixture of frequencies. Any waveform can be thought of as a sum of sine waves at different frequencies. Noise often lives at frequencies that are different from the true signal content. Filtering is the act of separating those frequency components so the system keeps what matters and rejects what does not. Key vocabulary: gain, attenuation, and decibels. A filter is described by how much it passes and how much it reduces different frequencies. When the output is smaller than the input at a given frequency, that is attenuation. Filters are often plotted using decibels, which is a logarithmic way to show gain or loss. The important practical idea is that decibels turn multiplication into addition, which makes wide ranges easier to compare. You do not need to memorize formulas here, just understand that more negative decibels means stronger suppression. The most important number: cutoff frequency filters have a transition point where they stop passing cleanly and start attenuating strongly. This is commonly called the cutoff frequency. In many common filters, cutoff is defined as the point where the output drops to about 70% of the input amplitude, which corresponds to -3 decibels. Below or above that point, depending on filter type, the signal is mostly passed. Beyond that point, the filter increasingly rejects low-pass filter. Keep the slow stuff, reject the fast stuff. A low-pass filter allows low frequencies to pass and attenuates high frequencies. This is the classic tool for smoothing. If your signal has high-frequency electrical noise on top of a slowly changing process value, a low-pass filter can make the reading stable without changing the true process trend. In instrumentation, this shows up in transmitter damping, PLC input filtering, and simple RC smoothing on analog signals. High-pass filter: reject drift and bias, keep changes. A high-pass filter does the opposite. It blocks low frequencies and passes higher frequencies. This is useful when you want to remove slow drift, offset, or baseline wander, and focus on changes. In practical terms, high-pass behavior appears in coupling capacitors and in circuits that detect events, vibration, or rapid transitions without being influenced by slow variations. Bandpass and notch. Target a specific frequency. A bandpass filter passes only a band of frequencies and attenuates both lower and higher frequencies. This is useful when the signal you care about occupies a known frequency range, such as a rotating machine sensor or certain communication signals. A notch filter, sometimes called band stop, does the opposite. It rejects a narrow band of frequencies while passing everything else. The classic industrial use case is knocking down a single interference frequency, such as a persistent hum. Filter steepness. Order and roll-off filters are not just types, they also have strength. The order of a filter describes how steeply the filter attenuates past cutoff. A first-order filter has a gentle roll-off. Higher-order filters have steeper slopes and can separate signal from noise more aggressively. The trade-off is that steeper filters often introduce more delay and more phase effects, which can matter in control loops. In other words, stronger filtering can clean the signal but also slow your measurement response. The classic hardware example: RC time. Constant. A simple resistor-capacitor network is the most common physical filter building block. The capacitor resists rapid voltage changes by charging and discharging over time, and the resistor limits the current. Together they form a time constant that sets the cutoff. What matters in practice is the intuition. Larger capacitance or larger resistance means slower response and stronger smoothing at higher frequencies. Smaller values mean faster response, but less noise rejection. Filters have side effects, phase shift and delay. Filtering is never free. Filters introduce phase shift, meaning the output waveform can lag the input. In control systems, this matters because phase lag can reduce stability margin and contribute to oscillation. Even if a filter makes a trend look beautiful, it may be delaying the measurement enough to harm control performance. The practical rule is to use the minimum filtering required to make the signal usable, especially on fast control loops. Active filters and why they're used. Active filters use amplifiers along with resistors and capacitors to shape frequency response more precisely. They can provide gain, buffering, and better control over cutoff and roll-off without requiring huge inductors or large component values. In instrumentation, active filtering often appears inside transmitters, signal conditioners, and analog input modules. If you see a signal conditioner module, it frequently includes filtering as part of its job. Digital filtering. Smoothing without hardware. Modern control systems often filter signals digitally in transmitters, PLCs, DCS systems, and historians. Common examples include moving average filters, exponential smoothing, and configurable input filters. The benefit is flexibility. You can tune filtering in software. The risk is overfiltering, where the signal becomes slow and unresponsive. Digital filters still obey the same core truth. They trade noise reduction for time delay. Sampling, aliasing, and why anti-alias filters exist. When you sample a signal, the system can misinterpret high-frequency content as a lower-frequency pattern. This is aliasing, and it can create fake trends that look real. To prevent that, systems often use an anti-alias, low-pass filter before the analog-to-digital conversion, so frequencies above half the sampling rate are suppressed. The practical takeaway is that sampling and filtering are linked. If the sampling rate is low, you must be more careful about noise and filtering up front. Selection and field rules of thumb. Here are the practical selection rules. If your process is slow but your signal is noisy, start with low-pass filtering and keep it mild so you do not cripple response time. If you need to detect changes or remove drift, consider high-pass behavior or event-based logic. If you have a known interference frequency, use a notch approach. Always remember that filtering can hide problems. A filter might make a bad wiring issue look stable while the underlying defect remains. Use filtering to improve measurement quality, but also investigate the root cause of noise whenever possible. The best fix is often better wiring, grounding, shielding, or process stabilization, with filtering used as the finishing tool.